will not only give you news at the speed of nanosecond, but will also break it down with up-to-date analysis, informed opinions, and distinct professionalism. That's why you love us. At about 88.9 FM, your go-to station.
It's 12 o'clock. Good afternoon, I'm Michael Akintunde with Global News. In the news, WHO seeks collaboration to defeat tuberculosis. Japan to evacuate citizens stuck in Sudan fighting. Chelsea to return stronger after Champions League defeats.
You can give you some hope and confidence about what's going to come. That shows that we have progression and more progression to come. Because we asked things of the players, they did those things and they did it well.
This is the news.
The World Health Organization (WHO) has called for joint action between communities and the health system to bring tuberculosis under control. The Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros, made the call during a news conference on Tuesday. Tedros noted that the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, universal health coverage and primary health care agenda all recognized community empowerment as vital processes in helping to make tuberculosis a policy priority. He said that nearly 40% of the 10.6 million people with tuberculosis were not receiving the healthcare services they needed. A school teacher in Sudan's capital Khartoum has told the BBC that one of his pupils was shot in the head by a stray bullet amid continued fighting in the country. The teacher told newsmen that residents were getting used to the scary situation. Heavy sounds of artillery could be heard on Wednesday morning. This comes as the Sudanese army and paramilitary rapid support forces trade blames for violating a 24-hour humanitarian truce that was declared on Tuesday. Nearly 200 people have been killed in the fighting, which began on Saturday. Meanwhile, Sudanese Doctors Union said that 39 out of 59 hospitals in the capital Khartoum and nearby states are out of service. These highlight the worsening humanitarian situation in the country. The Central Committee of Sudanese Doctors, CCSD, said today that only 20 hospitals were fully or partially operational. Among the hospitals that have stopped working, there are 9 hospitals that were bombed and 16 hospitals that were subjected to forced evacuation. Fighting is continuing in Khartoum and other parts of Sudan as the army and paramilitary force trade blame for violating a 24-hour humanitarian truce that was due to take effect Tuesday evening. In the meantime, Japan is planning to send a military aircraft to evacuate its citizens from Sudan amid the deadly fighting. Japanese government spokesman Hirokazu Matsuno said there were 60 Japanese nationals stuck in Sudan. And prosecutors in Switzerland have charged a former Gambian interior minister with crimes against humanity and other offenses. They accuse Usman Sonko of involvement in and failure to prevent systematic attacks on opponents of the former president Yahya Jammeh. Mr. Sonko held several senior posts in the authoritarian administration of Mr. Jammeh. Mr. Jammeh himself ruled the Gambia for more than 20 years after seizing power in a military coup in the mid-1990s. Prosecutors accused Mr. Sonko of supporting and participating in repression up to 2016. You're listening to Global News on 88.9 FM Akure, transmitting from Ilaramoki after the break. Lampard positive of Chelsea's comeback after annihilation by Madrid. Stay with us. We'll be back again.
When you think of fruit juice and all the goodness that comes in it, think Chivita. It is many years of trust, quality.
Everybody, oh yeah, denki, kebulo. Denki, wire. Denki. Now so, the only thing with Denke sabi na wire and cable. Of the company where they manufacture wire and cable for Nigeria, Denke na number one. No wonder we electrical contractors they recommend Denke wire and cable. Now then choice. Denke now good member of Cable Manufacturers Association of Nigeria with a government endorsement plus including
88.9 FM.
Glad to know you're still there for news updates and live streaming. Visit our website www.adabai89.fm or download Adabai FM app on Google Play Store. You can be part of us on our social media platforms www.facebook.com/AdabaFM80.9 on Facebook, at Adabai89FM on Instagram, and Adabai FM TV on YouTube. You can provide us information via email newsroom@adabai89.fm. Police have detained 12 people for questioning after a hospital fire in Beijing killed at least 29 people. Most of the dead were patients. The deadly fire broke out in Chengfang Hospital at about 1 p.m. local time. Angry and concerned relatives rushed to the hospital hours later, only learning of the fire from local news reports. Officials said a preliminary investigation showed that sparks generated during renovation works had ignited paint stored in the premises. Footage on social media showed patients jumping out of windows to flee the building. India is set to overtake China to become the most populous country in the world by the middle of 2023. This is according to a data released by the United Nations. India's population is pegged to reach 1,428 million against China's 1,425.7 million. This shows India will have 2.9 million more people than its Asian neighbor. The Asian giants have more than 1.4 billion people each and have accounted for more than a third of the global population for over 70 years. However, India's population number is an estimate since there's been no census in the country after 2011. Frank Lampard has vowed Chelsea will be back despite the season ending with a whimper against Real Madrid in the UEFA Champions League. Chelsea exited the competition with a humbling 4-0 aggregate loss to the holders. Rodrigo's double condemned the Blues to a 2-0 defeat at Stamford Bridge. The Blues are 11th in the Premier League table and 17 points off the Champions League spot with only 7 games left to play. After the match, Lampard said things will take work and a bit of process.
And at this level, that's very important. We played really well. And if we score 1 or 2 goals in the first 60 minutes, we would have deserved it. And then the game is on. When they score, then the game is virtually over with their level. So I can't complain about the players' performance. It's good. I've been here a short time, and to see that shows that we have progression and more progression to come. But of course, in this level, the important thing is the result. And without scoring, we couldn't get the result. It was a different team, in terms of the performance. And Brighton is a very good team. So it maybe felt as a difficult game for us in between 2 matches in Madrid. But when I see what I saw tonight, you can give you some hope and confidence about what's going to come. Because we asked things of the players, they did those things and they did it well. We just didn't have the end product. So
Lampard said fans appreciated the performance on Tuesday. To end Global News, a recap of our top stories. The World Health Organization has asked communities to support the health body to end tuberculosis. Japan is ready to evacuate its over 60 citizens from Sudan amid deadly fighting. Chelsea Champions League dreams have ended with a 2-0 loss to Real Madrid, but interim coach Frank Lampard vowed that the club would bounce back. And that's Global News editor Titi Lokbe Adegolu. My name is Michael Akintoday. Good afternoon.
The world moves at a fast pace, and news breaks with the same speed.
Sometimes